Hey there, everybody. YouTube and Facebook. We are live. Welcome. Um, while we wait for people to show up, I'd love to hear where you're from and have you say hello. Uh, Marco is from the Netherlands. Great profile photo, Marco. Good to see you. Thanks for being here with us. And Turtle Boy, Turtle Boy is going into marching band, needs these reads. All right, well, good luck. Good luck. And let's see. Hey, I love you, Nay. I hope you meant to say Jay. Thanks for being here. And Hades from Tampa. Hello, Haiti. And Sonia from the Netherlands. Welcome. And we get somebody from Thailand. I'm sorry I can't read Thailand, Taiwan. Sorry I can't read that, but hello to you from Taiwan. And Javier is from Spain. Welcome, Javier. And we even got Ghana in the house. Hello, David. Okay, and Anthony from Gloucester, Massachusetts. Thanks for getting me started. Well, glad you're playing. Good to have you. All right, wow, we got Australia. What time is it in Australia? And Dave from Syracuse. Good to see you, Dave. Thanks for being here. Frank from Austin. And Larry from New Jersey. Well, you guys got some great profile photos. And wait, I saw somebody. Miguel is from Mexico. All right. Hey, Miguel. Thanks for being here. Wow, Rogers from India. Wow, is that a real? You got a snake in your picture. That's cool. I thought it was a saxophone for a second, but it's a snake. Wow, Saudi Arabia. Nathaniel is tuning in from Saudi Arabia. Great. So exotic. Wow, we even got South Korea. Cho from South Korea. And I saw, oh yeah. Ron is from California, so it's pretty early in California. Hope you didn't get up just for this, Ron. Anyway, good luck, everybody, in the contest. So we're going to go now. We're going to go straight through these winners. I'm going to announce the winners. And then I've got a special it's a special announcement. If you're on my mailing list, you've already heard this announcement, because I sent out an email about it this week. But if you're not, this is new, and it's super exciting. So we'll get to that once we announce the winners. We've got 5 winners for this contest, and I realized that on the page it said there was only going to be 4 winners somewhere, but no, there's definitely 5. So if anybody noticed that, there is 5. And it's super exciting because we got winners from all different places, like a nice variety of places, as usual. So if you're all ready, let's announce the 5th place winner. And remember, the prize is each one of these winners wins 4 Legere American cut reeds of your choice. They're only available for alto and tenor, so you get any 4. But if you want all 4 alto, or 4 tenor, or a combination, and you choose your strengths. So let's start with 5th place. 5th place from Tijuana, Mexico. Abdiel Rivera, Abdiel Rivera from Tijuana, Mexico. Congratulations. You're winning 4 of these Legere reeds. I wanted to show you guys too. I didn't show this in my video. These reeds come in like a case. So they each have their own case, and inside the case, let me put it there so you can see better. Come on, focus on that. Inside the case, it holds that reed in place like that quite nicely. So it's kind of cool for storage. You put it back in your case and, in your saxophone case, and it protects it nicely. So when you get your reeds, it comes in one of these. All right, congratulations. Let's move on. I'm going to move through these quickly today. Usually I draw it out a little bit more, but today I'm going to go through quickly because I want to bring on our special guest soon and introduce you to him. And that's part of my announcement. So, fourth place, ready now. From a different country, we had Mexico. Now we've got the USA, the United States, from Eden Prairie, Minnesota, Chris Albee from Eden Prairie, Minnesota, fourth place. Chris, you're going to get 4 of these Legere American cut reeds. And for anybody, not just the winners, anybody, if you want to try out these reeds, in my experience, you want to start with a variety of strengths. So I'm on like 2 1/4 or 2 1/2 with these. When I first ordered Legere reeds, I got way too hard because I ordered the same as I play on cane reeds, and I find the synthetic, these Legere reeds to be harder. So go like half a size lower if you're ordering Legere. That's my advice. And if you're going to order a few, get different sizes and strengths so you can figure out which one is best for you. Okay, congratulations, Chris. Next winner. New continent, new country. Next winner is from the Netherlands. Now, my Dutch is not very good. I can't. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the town you're from. No, not going to do it. So I'm just going to post it on there. Koos Keizer. Hopeless. Sorry, my Dutch. It's no good. So third place. Congratulations, Koos. You also winning some of these reeds. Sorry, I can't pronounce your town or your last name so well. My apologies. Congratulations, though. And moving right along, we got 2 more winners. So, next winner from San Diego, California. From San Diego, California, we've got Alex Buckner from San Diego. Congratulations, Alex. And, I just wanted to check here. There was, how many people did we have in this contest? Let's see. How many did we have altogether? Where can I see that? Oh, yeah. So there was like over 14,000 entries. So I'm not sure how many people. I think it was a couple thousand people entered in this contest. So the odds to win were a bit better than usual because there wasn't as many individuals entered in the contest. So first place. Anybody want to guess the continent, the country? First place winner is from Barcelona, Spain, Guido de Ciancia, if I'm pronouncing that right. Guido, congratulations. You've won first place. Everybody gets the same prize in this, so I guess it doesn't really matter if you're first place or fifth place. But thank you, everyone, for participating in this contest. And the next giveaway contest, I'm going to tell you what the next giveaway contest is going to be. Any guesses? Next giveaway contest is going to be for some of these. Come on, focus. Wait, get in front of my face. That'll make it focus. Yes. Next giveaway contest is going to be for some of these. This is the Better Sax Burn-In mouthpiece made by Jody Jazz. They're already shipping out, and we're already getting some great feedback from people who've got them. So I'm looking forward to hearing lots of other people play on that mouthpiece. That's going to be the next giveaway. I got to make a video. I'm going to make a video. It's going to be a giveaway contest. I'm not sure how many we'll give away. But it'll be a couple, at least. And maybe we'll give away some of these power ring, Jody Jazz power ring ligatures as well. We'll see. I'll get back to you with the details on it, but we're going to be giving away some of these great mouthpieces. That's going to be next one. Maybe next week if I get it all done, maybe by next week I can have that started and going. Okay, now I'd like to bring on our special guest, who is, many of you may already know about him, but this is a great saxophone player, and he's very active on social media, on Instagram, and a very active performer, and is a great teacher as well. And this is my friend Steve Cortica. Welcome, Steve.
Hey, what's happening, Jay? How you doing, man?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for joining us today. And so the announcement is we've got this new program at Better Sax called the Better Sax Studio, which is a place that people can learn about improvisation and all different saxophone things from myself and Steve. And the way it works is each month we have new content, new lessons, a whole curriculum of lessons and things covering all different topics in jazz improvisation. And members can come in and learn and take all these lessons and learn everything. But the really special part is that you can upload videos and audio of yourself playing and get feedback from us. So, and already, it's been going for a couple weeks now, and it's been going really well. Steve, tell me, you've been making the lessons in this. So, give everybody your thoughts on the Better Sax Studio.
Sure. This is I've said this in the studio post, but this has been a dream come true of mine, just to be able to present jazz improvisation and just the art of, what professionals do as improvisers in a way that everybody can approach and access. And just the first lesson we're doing has been the 2-5-1 lesson, and I feel like the way that we structured it has been really, really great and manageable for just all levels of players. We have stuff in there for very beginners and stuff in there for advanced players who have already learned some tunes or already know how to improvise. There's still challenges in there for just all variety of players. So just putting the material together has been a learning experience for me, just to really think through how to be the most efficient with this material as possible for people who are learning it, not to waste any hours in the practice room, and we're giving away our best stuff here. So it's going to be the most efficient practice experience, I think, if you just work through the material that we have laid out. So, but I'm just, that's the best thing about teaching for me has always been I learn from the students too. It's a give and take from both sides of the aisle. So I've been learning a lot about how to be a better teacher. The whole time I've been teaching, the last 20 years, but this is really helping me up my teaching skills as well. It's just great to meet so many people from all over, and your fans are lovers of the saxophone. So it's just awesome to be exposed to all these new students, and I'm really enjoying it, man.
Yeah, that's for me, like that was the vision of this, is to have a program that is welcoming to all different levels. Because a lot of times, exploring jazz improvisation can be intimidating, and it could be the sort of thing where people are like, I'm not ready for that. I need to, have been playing for so many years before you can really get started. Now, having said that, you do want a certain amount of groundwork done before you get involved in this. And I recommend, anybody that's kind of gone through my existing courses, especially like the harmonic foundation, because we do talk a lot about harmony and chords and scales and stuff like that. So it's good to have that sort of background. But if you've got even a basic background in music theory and already experience on your saxophone, this is definitely for you. So, like, there's a question here, which is a good question. I just started playing 4 months ago. Can someone learn with these online classes? I mean, yes, it all depends because 4 months, I have some students after 4 months, they're playing, a ton of stuff, and other people are in different spots. So it really depends. If you're not sure, I recommend you kind of if you're not already going through some of the better sax material, that'll kind of give you a good idea of your level. And you could always get in touch with me and ask me specifically about your personal situation, and I'll let you know if I think it's a good fit for you or not. It's certainly, and what I'm going to do now, what I'd like to do now is literally like we're going to go inside the studio and show you guys what it looks like. So let me see if this works there. Okay, let me take I like fishing down and here we are. So now we're inside the Better Sax members area. Those of you who are already members are familiar with this. And those of you who are not, might be a first look. So this is the studio, and it's two parts. So you've got the lesson part, and I'll just kind of go through some of this. You've got the lessons. This is the first month. Each month is going to be a new unit, and you see that we've got all these lessons here. So, and they're video lessons, and with the video lessons, there are some MP3s that you can play along with. There's all sorts of content. There's a PDF downloading with everything written out. So you would kind of go through these various lessons, and then there's the other part of this, which is great, which is really the part I'm most excited about, is there is a forum where all the various students can upload and post their own playing, and I'm going to show you that now. And we're just going to look quickly at how that works, so you guys can get an idea. If I can make it work here. There it
We had a
is.
question from Patrick on here. He said he would like to know how to read music, but never studied music theory. Is this a good program for me? Which I think, yeah. In a lot of ways, learning jazz improvisation is learning more about music theory. So we definitely are going to be explaining some of those things. And then Jay has a harmonic foundation course as well that would definitely help with that also. But a lot of the things we have reading wise, they're designed to be memorized quickly. So even if you don't know theoretically what's happening, what'll start to happen over time as you learn the lesson materials, is you learn the theory behind what you're memorizing and what you're reading through. So I would say yes, Patrick.
Absolutely. If you're able to read music, I mean, it's good to be able to read music, especially for a lot of this stuff, because that'll help you learn a bit faster. But even if you can't read music, but you have a good ear and you've got some good skills on the saxophone, you could also join and kind of improve your knowledge of the reading, written down music stuff at the same time. So now I'm going to show you guys this. Okay, so now we're in the forum. And the way the forum works is all the members are able to make a post each month. Ooh, let me take this one down. So everybody's able to post something. So let's see, we've got one here. Raul made a post, and I'm just going to choose this one. You can see there's loads of them. And he's uploaded a video of him playing, and then he gets feedback from Steve and myself and he can get even feedback from his fellow students in the studio. So that's basically the vibe. It's a very supportive community. Everybody is, trying to get better together. We're all trying to improve together. So it's so far it's been a really amazing vibe, and I've been enjoying it. I know Steve's been enjoying it, and the people involved have been enjoying it. So the reason I haven't made it completely like it's you can only like if you want to check it out, I put a link in the description of this video, and there's like 120 something people watching. There's limited space. We can't take everybody in the program all at once now. So that's kind of why it's been a little bit on the down low. And I wanted to announce it to those people who watch my live streams or are on my mailing list first, and give all of those people, all of you guys watching now, first shot. All right.
Yeah. We have a good question from Nathan here. If he only has plans to play rock, pop, and contemporary music, should he keep learning pentatonic and blues and playing along with the recordings, or would it be better time spent learning harmonies? And what I love about this question, and this is something that I think about a lot, and I have, before I've had private students of all different backgrounds, but if you think about some of the greatest pop saxophone solos you've ever heard, a lot of those guys are kind of heavy jazz players or know a lot about harmony, and then they also know the pop style really, really well. So I think part of, this course that's going to be really helpful is it takes you beyond some of the things that you can do in pop music, but you can also take those elements and then apply them to your soloing in different genres and in different settings, and it's definitely going to inform the pop playing. We might not be studying like how to solo over a pop tune, and we might even get to that. We haven't like fully fleshed out the course for the whole year yet, but we're still trying to experiment, with what things we want to cover, because we're definitely open to the idea of doing things that the students are requesting. So, but just to answer that question, I think learning harmonies would be very well spent.
Yeah, I just found Nathan's.
Sorry.
I don't know. I was looking for it. I just found it. Great question. If I only have plans to play rock, pop, contemporary music, yeah, absolutely. And I just going to repeat kind of what Steve said. Once you learn like these this approach to improvisation, it applies to all styles of music. It's all the same chords and the same harmony, and we, this is going to be geared to a very practical set of of information. We are going to get into advanced things, but everything is really going to be based in practical information, like stuff you're going to use on gigs, and it's stuff that I use all the time when I'm playing. The stuff that you really want to learn. That's always been my approach, and I'm continuing that with this new program. The idea is to be able to really give personalized feedback and hear everybody play, and watch their growth, because with my online courses, which have been great for so many people I don't always get to hear everybody playing and directly, follow the progression. I saw a great comment that I wanted to put here. Oh yeah, this is from Claudia. But Eric. Oh, this is Eric. You're on somebody else's account. But I started playing 6 months ago, and better sax courses are great. It works for me. Thanks for posting that, Eric. And yeah, I know they're working, but now for me, what's great about this is I can see it and hear it working for you, and hopefully help it work even better. So as of right now, the cost is $39 a month. That's like an introductory cost, and it's been very popular so far. That cost is likely to go up, and I'm not saying that to put any pressure on anybody, but I'm just throwing it out there now, in case you watch this down the road. You say, "Oh, you said it was $39." Yeah, I think it's a really amazing. What you get for that is such an amazing deal. Just I want it to be accessible, as with everything, but I'm just letting you know in case anyone's wondering. That's what it costs for right now. So if you want to take advantage of that, click the link in the description, check it out. Of course, it's a cancel anytime deal, so you're not locked into anything. Yeah. So let's see. Now that we've announced that, and we've met Steve. We can take the rest, the next 10 or 15 minutes to answer any questions you guys have. So if you got any questions, let me know in the chat. If you got any questions for myself or Steve about anything, let's see. So, I clicked on the wrong one, but Alexander. So I play a trumpet, but my dad has an alto sax. He hasn't played in a long time. I live down in South Louisiana. Do you know a good place you can get? Don't know. Sorry, I clicked the wrong question. But
yeah,
you know
I don't
what?
know any repair guys in Louisiana off the top of my head, but I could probably find out.
You know what? Google.
Yeah.
Google. I would be all over Google on that question.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay, Majid is asking, any suggestion on an alto mouthpiece with dark sound but cheaper than €200? Well, there's probably lots like that. A Meyer has a dark sound. It's cheaper than €200. Jody Jazz HR Star is on the dark side. Steve, you got any suggestions?
Mouthpiece with a dark sound, cheaper than two. I mean, I do like the Van Dorens. I think that they are a little brighter, but the medium chamber Van Doren pieces are nice, and they are very cost effective. C Star.
That's
those
dark.
are nice and dark. Yeah.
That's dark.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody's asking about the better sax. When are the better sax ready to ship out? If you've already ordered one and you're waiting for it, it's coming very soon. It might already be on the way. It depends on where you are in the queue. I posted some photos. It took a while for everything to get because it's a global shipping thing, but it's coming. In the next couple weeks, everyone who has ordered one will have it. If you're asking about future better sax altos, they're coming too. I just don't want people to wait too long. So I'm waiting until I can give you like a really solid delivery date before I start taking orders again. So I'm looking forward to hearing lots of people playing on those. So Steve is asking about when does your burn-in tenor mouthpiece come out? Now you're winking, but we're working on it. We're working on it. And Steve, I like your profile. The saxophone on the chalkboard with a note coming out. Nice.
Yeah. I actually had the same question, Jay, so that's good. That covers me too.
Yeah, thanks, man. Okay. Okay, this is a question. Who's better between you two? Well, that's easy to answer. Steve is a much better saxophone.
I don't know, man. I think we got to do a battle, like some kind of battle video. I used to think I was good, and then I did a video with Ryan Devlin, and then it just ruined everything for me.
Yeah. Well, I have no illusions. I know I would never make a video with Ryan. Are you crazy?
Yeah. That's
no
funny.
way, man. So
I saw another good one from Nathan. I don't know if you wanted to post that one up there, but he said he'd love to see a course on how to play in a band that is centered around a singer, advice in filling in the gaps on when to play and when to back off. And what's funny is I think I've talked about this exact thing a little bit in next month's lesson. So,
cool.
Yeah, we definitely addressed it because next month we're going to be approaching the standard Misty. And most times when you're playing the tune Misty, I mean, you can play it as an instrumental, but a lot of times you're backing up a singer. And one of the things, I can just give this away as a hot tip right now. When you're playing behind a singer, if you really know the chord tones of, the chords that are going by, and you really focus on the sevenths and the thirds, you can play behind a singer. And as long as you're playing one of those two notes, you can pretty much play those and embellish them a little bit, and you're always going to be correct behind the singer. So that's a little bit of a, like what I would call like a hack for being able to play any tune behind any singer and always sound good.
And do you do that? Do you play sevenths and thirds behind Lady Gaga when you're?
I do. I
Right?
mean, we've played. She does "What a Difference a Day Makes" by uh, the great Dinah Washington version, and I'm sevenths and thirds all day on that when I don't have something to play or whatever. But I can just always have a whole tone or a pad on that note, and I'll be playing, and it'll sound great with the orchestra. It'll sound nice behind her. Um, it always works, just without fail. I play other things too, of course, but
I think Nathan is kind of talking more about like filling in the spaces between
sure.
phrases.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. So like when you're not playing those notes behind the singer, then you kind of just wait for them to leave, like he says, like leave a gap. And part of it is knowing the person too. Like because if you click well with the person, you kind of can tell when they're gonna start singing again or when they're not. Or sometimes they do embellishments, and you don't want to necessarily be playing when that's happening. But I think that's definitely something we're gonna talk about as the Misty
That's
lesson carries on.
that's very good advice, Nathan. I don't know if you saw my video with Michael Geegan. Michael Geegan is a great saxophone player who's played with a lot of singers. I met him when he was touring with Supertramp, and he we did a whole video together about this. And what he said was, it's like dancing with someone, but you have to not step on their toes. So
That video is amazing, Jay. By the way, that I really enjoyed that one.
yeah.
Michael's awesome. I didn't know about him before he did the video, but I feel like I've listened to him a lot on recordings. But yeah, that's if you haven't seen that one yet, Nathan, that'll answer a lot of the questions that you have about that too.
Yeah, and Michael's a master of that, because he's also a great singer as well, and that's another, for accompanying singers, if it helps to be a singer because then you know what it's like, and then when as I've been a singer, I've been a lead singer before. This is another thing people don't know about me, but it's the sort of thing like, yeah, you want as the singer, you want there to be some, you want something, you want some interaction, but you don't want too much. And you
Hmm.
don't want people stepping on your toes. So it's good to kind of think of things from both perspectives. Usually the singer is the more important one, and whatever you're doing is really just to make their performance better and enhance their performance.
Jay, come on! I had no idea you were a singer. Is this public information, or is this the first time you're really?
There's a lot of stuff that you don't know about me, but
Yeah,
I've been
man.
around a long time, and I have a whole past that nobody knows about.
Heck yeah, man.
But
It sounds
back in
like
the day,
that's the big
I
announcement today. It's not even.
yeah, right. I had to do whatever, I had to do what was necessary to make ends meet back in the day, man.
Yeah, man.
You know,
Yeah, I bet it's great though. I'm gonna wait patiently for that YouTube video to come out.
it's not happening. It's in the past. Okay. Okay. Hey, this is actually a good question. Larry asks, I get the thirds and sevenths, but why not the tonic? Steve, you want to answer that?
Tonic is cool too. I think the root is a note we don't necessarily want to lay on a lot of times because the bass is already playing that, and sometimes even the piano player will be playing that. So if you're playing the tonic as well, and sometimes even the singer is going to be singing the root as part of whatever the melody is. So if you have too much root happening, then it kind of gives the overall texture of the sound of what's happening a really weighted root bias to it. So that would be my reason for not playing too many roots. But there's many answers to that question, I think.
Yeah, it's not a simple one answer question, but also, with roots, and when you're playing harmonies, like the roots would have the least color to it. It's almost like the least interesting note you could play, in that range of the saxophone. It's great for bass players to play because it's laying the foundation of the harmony. But as saxophone players, that root is kind of like a note that says, it's saying something, like it's saying this is the end, or it's very tonic centric. And yeah, when you're trying to be colorful, it's not as much color in that root note either. So it's not always a bad choice. Sometimes it is the perfect choice, but hard to answer that question really.
Yeah.
But Larry, we did our best, Larry, to answer you. I hope that makes sense. We didn't confuse you more. Okay. Man, and the other thing about the studio that we didn't mention is we do live streams. I forgot to mention that. And last night we did our first live stream, and there was, many fewer people, but there was a lot of questions. I mean, there was so many. We couldn't even get through all the questions. There was so many questions.
Yeah.
Um, so that's another part of the studio is we do live streams where we're answering everyone's questions, and that was extremely productive, I thought. Um, I don't know, Steve. What did you think of our live stream last night?
I thought it was cool. I think we were both a little surprised with how many additional questions on top of like all the information that we've presented still come up because they're great questions. And, I think that's part of the student teacher relationship that is unique is that, there's not enough time to just get everything out in like one video lesson or even 1 half-hour lesson. Sometimes you don't get to everything. So what's cool is over the course of the month, we get to address, I think, a lot more material, and the live streams really help to get very specific, with stuff. And yeah, I thought it was very cool. I mean, it's similar to this. We're getting some great questions here, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
there's a lot to talk about. So
Okay, so let's. I want to stick with the questions that are kind of harmony and related to music. So Nathan again, great questions always, Nathan. Are you talking
yeah,
thirds and sevenths of the key of the song or the chords you are in at the moment? So definitely the chord you're in at the moment. So Steve was when he was answering that question, he was referring to following along the underlying harmony, and sort of you can play guide tones based on these thirds and sevenths, and that's just going to lay down sort of like a horn line for behind a singer, and that can work in all different styles of music. And that's something you could do when you don't have an arrangement written out or a chart or something, and you're just an accompaniment to a singer. That's a nice subtle way to add a color below and beneath and something that supports the singer without really getting in their way. Yeah, thirds and sevenths of the harmony, and this is why, even if you only want to play rock and pop music, learning the jazz stuff, all the stuff we're teaching in the studio, is going to help you be much better at accompanying a singer in a pop situation or a folk situation or whatever, because those songs, they may have fewer chords, but it's the same chords, it's the same rules, it's the same things. Thirds and sevenths sound great on a pop song as just as much as they do on a jazz tune. So
yeah.
yeah. Um,
Majid had a
let's
good question. Heard a lot about learning chords and arpeggios on the sax, but there are so many different chords. Do we need to memorize the chords in order to improvise? If not, how does learning chords help us play sax? Awesome question. Yes, you are going to memorize the chords. You don't need to, but you're going to be in a better position if you do memorize the chords. And that's one thing we address. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges of becoming a jazz improviser is the idea that there's all these things that you have to learn. But I think the way that we're breaking it down is an approachable manner, and it takes this, what seemingly this very complicated task, and it provides, really great stepping stones for getting from here to here in a comfortable way, in a fun way that you're going to enjoy, rather than feeling like, you're here and you have to be here by 2 weeks from now or whatever. There's all kinds of different levels laid out. So yes, we are going to be talking about all the different chords and stuff, but for example, just like in the first lesson, we have only outlined one particular chord progression that happens in every song. So we're going to spend a lot of time talking about that one particular chord progression. And by the end of the month, if you spend, every day or, every other day working on the things that we've laid out, you're going to have a great just intro to what is seemingly a complicated topic, but it'll become easy by the end of the month is the plan. But yeah, I don't know if that answers Majid's question, but
Well, Yeah, I would say, like, for example, the first unit we're talking about the 2-5-1 chord progression. Now, if you're not familiar with harmony and stuff, you're like, what is 2-5-1? What does that mean?
Hmm.
The thing about harmony and chords in music is that there's patterns and there's things that happen over and over and over and over again. So you don't necessarily have to memorize chords like, okay, this song is, C and then it's G7 and then, you don't have to do that. If you learn these formulas and what they sound like, at a certain point, your ear takes over and your knowledge of having all these sounds, of having heard it and worked on it, comes into play, and you can kind of respond to things, and it's just like you don't have to memorize sentences before you say them. You're able to construct sentences because you know these words and you could put them together. It's the same with chords, but it does take a minute of study to get all those things together. But that's what we're working on. So if you want to learn that, this is a great place to get going with that.
Yeah.
I saw some other good questions. Okay, this one from Logan. Wow. Logan, are you really standing on your head like right there? Great. How often do you pull up changes when you're at a jam session? Is that sort of a beginner thing to do? I haven't been to a jam session in a long time, but I never brought up changes at a jam session because I was always like, my understanding was you would just want to know a song before you call it at a jam session. And by know a song, I mean you know the melody and you know the chord changes. And I'm sorry, I got rid of your comment. And if somebody else calls a song that you don't really know, that's a good time to sit down usually, at a jam session. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're reading the changes at a jam session, it's like a billboard or an advertisement for not knowing the song that you're playing. In some situations, I guess if it's really relaxed and let's say it's just like all musicians and it's a very learning-based environment and there's not many people, like not much of an audience there, then I'd say that would be acceptable. But most of the times, no. If you're performing, even if it's in a jam session, I would just not play the tune and listen. You can learn a lot sometimes just by putting the horn down and just having open ears and an open mind, and can be more beneficial that way.
Yeah, and absolutely. And that's when I did go to jam sessions, one thing I would do is like when a tune came up that I didn't know, I made a note of that and I started practicing that tune right away the next day. So that's what Steve said. Yeah, put the horn down, say, "Oh, I don't know that tune, but it's getting called at a jam session, so I probably should."
Yeah.
Especially if you like it, like if you're like, "Oh, I would like to play that tune."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Adrian is asking, how can we recognize what mode or type of scale a song uses? So this is the thing. There are songs that have very basic harmony that doesn't really change key, and you could apply theoretically one scale to the entire song. But most songs have, most songs will have points where the harmony changes, meaning the chords change, and you're going to want to you're going to want to change with the chords. So the question should be more, how do we recognize what mode or type of scale a chord uses? I think, and that is from studying harmony and studying, music theory a little bit. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. The chord tones and knowing what a chord is composed of will dictate what scale and what pentatonic to use. And what's cool, I think, about certain progressions is sometimes, you can have a 4-bar section where you can use the same scale or the same pentatonic scale will work great over, a couple different chords at a time instead of just one. But yeah, you do have to learn that like code, so to speak, and decipher it. And what I've finding, over the years is that there's only a finite amount of things that you have to memorize before you can have a ton of freedom with this information. So once you get those things down, you can start to have just a really good time with it. But yeah, the chords dictate the scale is the short answer for that.
Yeah. And, you could go to the next level. There are different scales that can be played over any given chord. It's not limited to just one scale per chord, but then you're getting it, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay. I see a question here from Micah. Mike is asking, does playing the alto, does that make you forget the tenor embouchure? Interesting question. And that's, yeah, Steve, you play both alto and tenor a lot. What is your answer to that?
Yeah, it does. It can, and it depends on how much time you spend playing one or the other. I was a classical alto player when I was in college and was studying jazz, like primarily just all entirely on alto. And then I picked up tenor when I started just entering the working world and worked on cruise ships. And I played tenor for about 5 or 6 years, and not much alto at all. And then when I went back to the alto, and especially because I got a new instrument, I kind of had to relearn how to play alto. And I wouldn't say I forgot the alto embouchure. I still could get an okay sound out of it, but it playing tenor for that long did change my alto concept a bit. But you can get it back, if you have to work on it.
Yeah, I mean, the way I would answer that is I've learned that by playing the different horns and really working to get a really good tenor sound, a really good alto sound, it helps your flexibility and your ability to play well on the other horns. I think it's kind of been a misconception. A lot of people think that, you have to really just sound good on alto or just sound good on tenor and focus on one. I don't think that's the case. I think, you could definitely sound good on both of them. And it's just a matter of approaching each one as its own sound concept and its own thing, rather than saying, okay, I sound good on alto, now I'm just going to apply that to tenor. It doesn't really work like that. You have to kind of start from square one, develop and this goes for soprano and baritone as well. You kind of have to start from the beginning, find the embouchure that works, find the mouthpiece, find the voicings and everything for the whole range of the instrument, and really work on it. But then when you go back to your original, whether it's alto or tenor, what you learned from playing soprano for months is going to help you, be more flexible and have better intonation and, on the other horns.
Yeah.
That's my experience.
And I would say that the way that I did it was a little unique just because I wasn't playing any alto for a very long period of time. So I do say you have to relearn the alto, but if you're going back and forth between the horns consistently, I do find, like what you said, they all kind of help each other out. They make you sound better and inform each other in a really cool way.
Yeah. All right. So we got time for a couple more questions. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So Benedict, this is a great question that we can never answer too many times. How do you motivate yourself to practice when there are days when you just don't feel like doing so? I want to hear your answer to this, Steve.
Sure. Yeah. I will say that those days for me, I mean, I'm a saxophone player by choice, and those days do still exist. And I find like getting the horn out of the case and just putting it together is the hardest part about that. And it's kind of like exercising or anything like that when, you dread the idea of doing it because it is work. But once you just get moving and let's say you put your horn together and just, you want to start playing over a chord, and this is the most fun about improvisation for me, is when I get started on one thing, you start to realize like, oh, this isn't so bad. There's so many things that I can practice here within just this one particular sound. So I'd say just get the horn out of the case and play for 5 minutes and then see if you still feel that way, because I have a feeling it'll change quickly once you start playing. But
I totally agree. Yeah, just getting started, because I've had it where it's really tough to get started for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the main reasons in my experience has always been, I really want to practice for a long time, but now with the day it's been so busy, I've only got half an hour. And that's when I'll be like, I'm going to skip it.
Yeah.
But it's so much better to take the horn out, play for 20 minutes. I've never said, I wish I didn't play my saxophone for 20 minutes. I've never said that,
Yeah.
So just do it. And then you'll be glad you did. So just do it. Get it out and force yourself to do it. That's all you can do. It's the same with exercise. It's the same with eating your vegetables. You gotta have a little bit of discipline.
Yeah.
Why do I have a flat sound on my tenor? Guy or Guy is asking. There could be a lot of reasons. Is your mouthpiece all the way pushed in? Are you putting enough pressure on the reed without biting? Is your reed a little bit too soft? It could be lots of things. Don't be afraid to push that mouthpiece in. I play with my mouthpiece pushed all the way, pretty much all the way in, and so do a lot of players. We're all different though, but start with that. Mm-hmm. One question I get, this is like an equipment question. Well, so many people are like, "Oh, my saxophone is out of tune. What's wrong with my saxophone? Can you make my saxophone play in tune?" It's like, no, only you can make your saxophone play in tune. Yeah. They come out of the factory pretty much playing in tune, and even the most out of tune instruments, that are not defective in some way, you put it in the hands of somebody with a really good ear, they're going to play it in tune. They're going to make the adjustments. We're all constantly making adjustments to play in tune. There is a certain amount of mouthpiece positioning and stuff, but once you find that spot on the neck, the rest is up to you, and working on the long tones, playing, working with the tuner. I did a video recently about playing with long tones with the drones. So, yeah, if your horn is out of tune, it's 99.9% of the time it's the player.
Yeah.
What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I found is, and it can make it hard to push the mouthpiece in, is if you've had your horn overhauled or serviced and the cork is really thick. A lot of times people are afraid to push it on further if the cork isn't allowing them to do that. So that's been an experience. But yeah, if you sound flat, it's probably just push the mouthpiece in 1 centimeter or less, or millimeters.
Don't be afraid to use a lot of cork grease too. Like for what Steve's saying, if you can't go, or I've actually made videos about this on how to adjust your cork to. You could take some sandpaper, go on my YouTube channel and look for my repair videos, and there's tutorials on exactly how to make your mouthpiece fit better on your neck cork. Okay, a couple more questions. Did you see? Let's see. I like this from Brendan Merlin. Any tips for making Altissimo sound good? That's one of the questions.
Yeah, I mean, I compare Altissimo to, I don't really compare it to anything, but I try and practice it and play it only in really loud moments of songs or when nobody's around, because generally it doesn't sound pleasing. It's not going to sound pleasing, but I think the short answer to that question is, practicing your overtones and getting those fat notes, like where you're covering the horn. They're covering a lot of holes on the horn up, and being able to play the altissimo notes that way is going to help you just get control over those notes. And the more control you have, the more you're going to be able to make them sound more pleasing, I guess, or sound better. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Jay?
No, that was a good point you brought up. Altissimo is not meant to sound pretty and good. It's an extreme register of the horn. And it should be used, like you said, in sort of extreme situations when you want to be loud, when you want to, stand out. Like I like in like a pop or a rock solo or even a jazz solo. Like altissimo is often something you're going to do at a high moment, at a high tension moment or a peak climax of your solo. It's effective in that way. Some players are really good at playing it super subtle, but it takes a lot of work. So however you're using it, altissimo takes a lot of work. So you got to work on it. Yeah. I saw another good question I wanted to address here. This is again from Micah. Does the space of the pads from the hole affect the tuning? It can, but only if your saxophone is really, we're talking micro things. There are so many things that are going to affect the tuning more than that. Your saxophone, let me grab a saxophone. Your saxophone should have these starting up at the top, there should more or less be a consistent height of these pads all the way going down, and it's going to gradually get larger as the tone holes get bigger. Okay, so you can see like my D, the space there is larger than up here on my C, and that's consistent. And so if you're looking at your saxophone and one key is like just way out of place, then there's an issue. Or, but it's the way the saxophone is made and designed. You would have to have really messed things up for the keys to be the wrong heights, like so much the wrong heights that it would play out of tune.
Yeah.
So there'd be a lot of mechanical problems before that. A lot of people say, "Oh, my saxophone plays out of tune is because my D key is a millimeter too close." No, you go back to my first answer. It's not that. That millimeter of the D key being closer is not really going to change the intonation of the whole saxophone.
Yeah.
So again, it's the player, like 99.9% of it. Okay, good question. What songs from Eric are good to start with for learning how to transcribe? For me, my answer is any song you really love and want to know the melody to. And I would start with melodies before you start with solos and Michael Brecker solos and stuff. Learn how to transcribe melodies first, because you're gonna be able to do it fast. You're gonna be learning some really useful information that you could play, and also transcribe them without writing it down. I did a lot. Some people say write it down. Some people say don't. I say learn melodies by ear, transcribe it, and learn it in your head, and do as many melodies as you can. And then when you move on to doing solos and stuff, it's easy because it's just that, another level.
Mm-hmm.
But start with things you love, like learn all the songs you want to play, because that's what you're going to be most into. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be. I don't know what your preferred genre of music is, but even if you just take something off of, a movie that you just saw or a song off the radio, that's still transcribing. So if you're picking out, those melody notes and learning what they are, that's the best place. I mean, I don't think I consciously did this, but everybody, even when they first start playing, that's kind of what gets them going in the first place. They're transcribing, like I learned some song off a video game. I think it was one of the first things I ever transcribed. And it was like, just because I really liked the song. So yeah, that's a great answer, Jay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny it seems like an obvious answer, but in music education, it's the answer that I find was like, nobody ever gave me that answer. Because normally you'd be like, oh, you have to transcribe, from Kind of Blue, or you have to, it's like, oh, you have to transcribe this solo, but no, transcribe what you love, whatever that is. Always start with what you love. And there's plenty of time to get to the other things that are in the book of like what you're supposed to learn. Mm-hmm. But don't transcribe stuff just because somebody told you to do it. Transcribe it because you love it. Oh, where'd my question go? Oh, this is good. A couple more questions, then I'm going to go. Elliot. Yeah. Elliot says, how do you avoid plateauing and improvising? I'm a senior in high school and I've been playing jazz for years, but I don't know how to move to the next level. Better Sax Studio. No. Steve, no, this is a great question, and this could be for any level. How do you deal with that, Steve?
Yeah, I think a lot of times when I feel like I've plateaued, it's because I've maybe trying to approach too many things at the same time, rather than taking a step back and simplifying a little bit, and trying to approach something that I feel like I already know in a different way. This could be a chord progression, or this could be just playing over D minor, or something like that. Like almost always, if you add a new, like let's say you feel like you've mastered the sound of D minor and you're really good at playing the pentatonic scale over that chord. What if you tried it with a minor, but with a major seventh or something like that? Now, changing that one note is going to really affect how you are hearing that particular chord, and it gives you all these other just different ideas about playing. So I've always found, just taking one thing, and a lot of that comes from knowing more about music theory. Like the more music theory you know, and the more like different pieces that you can apply to harmony, you can challenge yourself or just be inventive in the practice room and come up with new ways to unpack these ideas. So I just avoid it by really allowing myself to just let my curiosity go wild. And if I'm hearing something and I don't necessarily know what it is, then I try and figure it out and come up with a way to systematically flush that out. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like the more I don't know how you feel about this, Jay, but like the longer that I've done this, the more I realize I don't know. So I'm always trying to just find these things and then work them out.
Yeah. What I find is, a trap that we all get into is practicing the same stuff. You kind of, so don't be afraid to practice something that you've never practiced before.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to master something before you move on to the next thing. And if you feel like you're plateauing or getting bored, or you just pick there's so much, especially with YouTube, and there's so much information out there. Just pick anything, or a new tune, or just anything new. And if you get in the habit of doing that, I find it, just doing new things all the time, increases the rate of improvement. And instead of just saying, oh, I can't move on to the next topic because I still haven't mastered this. We never master anything, so don't be afraid to move on.
Yeah.
So that has been great, and now we are at an hour, and I want to thank everybody for being here, and so many of you sticking around and watching and listening, and all the great questions, and congratulations to our winners. I'm going to be doing more live streams coming up because it's fun, and now I've got some guests lined up, and it actually it's cool because it doesn't take so many hours to make those videos. No, but I have a lot of things going on right now.
Yeah.
So this is fun. Anyway, thanks for being here, everybody. Next giveaway is going to be Better Sax burn-in mouthpieces. So keep an eye on all of the social media for that. Thanks, Steve, for being part of the studio.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me. It's going to be great. Looking forward to the months coming up, man.
Okay, so bye, everybody. Thanks for coming. See you soon.